DCTV's newest show, The Furry Files. I'm your host, AvivA Hoffmann. This is where we share the stories of DeKalb's animals and the people who help support them. We're coming to you from the Aware Wildlife Center, which helps rehabilitate Georgia's injured and orphaned native wildlife. This facility also helps educate the public about our wonderful wildlife. Now, this show is jammed-packed with a wide range of animal topics. We'll share the story of a canine police dog that will be remembered for his hard work and dedication to DeKalb County. You'll learn the story of another dog originally left for dead on DeKalb streets that has a new lease on life and has transformed a Georgia family and hundreds of people from around the world. We'll also have a veterinarian joining us a little later who works very closely with wildlife. We have a great show ahead, but now let's kick it off with this in-depth look at DeKalb's Animal Services, a progressive division of the police force. There's a department in DeKalb County that looks out for the helpless, the powerless, the voiceless, our animals. DeKalb County Animal Services works day and night to provide humane care for homeless or unwanted animals, pet adoption services, community outreach, and to enforce the animal control laws that help keep us all safe.
Animal Services and Enforcement, Zan Rawls.
As director of the Animal Services Enforcement Division, Zan Rawls brings an abundance of experience and knowledge to her department. Before coming to DeKalb, and for the last 41 years, she's worked in animal care and control as a director at facilities in Tennessee and Florida. She also served as president of the Florida Animal Control Association, and her passion for the welfare of animals has never wavered.
The interesting thing about my job, and still 41 years later, why I'm anxious for the alarm to ring, is we never know what's going to happen.
Animal enforcement deals with the unexpected, from corralling birds, rescuing wildlife, capturing vicious animals, to removing pets from a crime scene, a traffic accident, or even a hoarding situation.
CC 57, labored breathing, okay, unable to walk.
Animal enforcement is committed to the health and well-being of animals, as well as the safety of our citizens.
If it's a stray dog call, then we're getting out there and get the dog off the street so he doesn't become a traffic hazard. And we don't want the dog hit by a car, so or getting himself in worse trouble, chasing a child on a bicycle, that kind of thing. So the enforcement aspect is very important to us.
Director Rawls and her staff help change the lives of animals on a daily basis, even wild animals. This deer rescue was a challenge for these enforcement officers, but they stuck with it and found a way to save the animal.
She okay?
But unfortunately, there is one area the enforcement division deals with on a regular basis.
We handle any kind of cruelty or neglect involving an animal that rises to the possibility of someone being arrested. So we deal with a lot of starvation, a lot of death by, it could be anything, poisons, shootings, but most of our cases involve pure neglect, lack of proper care, mainly starvation.
I love to investigate, and I'm here for the animals. My job is cruelty investigation to make sure Fluffy has a voice.
We partner with Lifeline Animal Project, who runs our shelter, provides our shelter operations, as well as other organizations like Friends of DeKalb Animals, who provide some fostering care for some of our really more challenging cruelty cases.
I asked rescue worker Chrissy Kaczynski with Friends of DeKalb Animals if it's difficult to give up an animal after fostering it through so much.
It's hard, but you get to follow their lives in a different way. I mean, we screen our adopters and we get to know them and we go to their homes. So we know where our dogs are going and we know that we're sending them somewhere good to people who will really enjoy them.
Chrissy certainly has a passion when it comes to some of the toughest cases.
I just like animals, and I like an underdog, so I like the ones that need some help to get to where they are and watching them recover and thrive.
There's no doubt DeKalb's Animal Services Enforcement Division is filled with compassionate partners, volunteers, and employees. You can't help but be moved by those hard-working employees with DeKalb's Animal Services. And stick around, a little later in the show, we'll give you more behind the scenes of that wonderful department. Also, our Executive Director, Diamond Lewis, will have more on Xena, the warrior puppy. Now, we want to remind you there are many delightful animals up for adoption at DeKalb's Animal Shelter, operated by Lifeline Animal Project. Be sure to check out the adoption page online at DeKalbAnimalServices.com/adopt-a-pet. You'll find regularly updated pictures of dogs and cats that are available right now. Now stick around because the Director of Animal Services will be on our show next to share more insights about the great work her department does. But first, I'm excited to introduce a new segment that will be included throughout the show, our Furry Files Fun Facts with Jay Breedlove. Now, we know our pets can get into all kinds of things at home, but there are some things that we use and consume that can actually harm them. Jay?
Thanks, AvivA. That's right. There are lots of things around our house that can actually be very harmful to your pets. Take, for instance, acetaminophen, commonly under the brand name Tylenol. Now, sometimes our dogs and cats may need some pain relief, but we want to be careful as to what we give them. Acetaminophen is very toxic for dogs and cats. Actually, if you give acetaminophen to a dog, 1 to 2 tablets a day over an extended period of time can cause severe toxicity in dogs. And just 1 extra strength capsule given to a cat can actually cause death. So you want to be very careful as to what you give your pets if they're having problems. Now, another product that you may have around your house that we pretty much all do is garlic and onions. Now, for both cats and dogs, onions and garlic can be extremely harmful. These root vegetables actually break down the red blood cells and cause anemia, fatigue, and other problems that can be really harmful to your pets. So make sure you're very careful with onions and garlic, no matter whether they're cooked, powdered, or raw. They can cause problems, so keep them away from your pets. Now, we all love a good piece of chocolate or even grapes. But did you know chocolate and grapes are very, very harmful as well? Chocolate contains theobromide, which can cause heart, lung, and kidney problems in dogs and cats. And grapes can be very fatal to a cat or a dog. Just a few grapes can cause a dog or a cat to become very ill. So make sure you keep these things away from your animals. And don't forget, this includes raisins as well, because raisins come from grapes. Now stick around because I've got more Furry File fun facts coming up for you. Back to you, AvivA.
Thanks, Jay, for those fun facts. Now there's more of the Furry Files right after this.
I used to think I was living a good life by eating whatever I wanted. That all changed when my doctor told me I had high cholesterol. My father died of a heart attack. I want to be around for my wife and kids. Plus, I'm going to win this competition right here. Now, I used to be just like my friend Byron here. Hey, what's up?
What's all that?
A new recipe from the farmer's market.
You're missing out. Whatever, man. It don't matter.
That's what I'm talking about. Man, I'm gonna post this right here.
To learn more about the DeKalb Mobile Farmers Market, go to DeKalbCountyGA.gov/mobile market.
Made possible with funding from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles or dollars you donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings. Because wishes work wonders.
You're doing great. We're gonna try this again, okay?
Okay.
Wheels, pedals, handlebar, brakes. Sit up straight, keep your weight in the center, keep your eyes on the road, hands on the grips, butt in the seat. If we feel ourselves falling, what do?
Just keep
pedaling. Good girl. Now remember, it's all about balance and steering. Steer with your hands, steer with your body. Steer into the corners and you stay out of trouble. And the bell's your buddy, so go ahead and ding that. All right, ready? Here we go. Pedal, honey, pedal. There you go, you're a bike rider.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Hi, I'm Interim CEO Lee May, and the Furry Files will be right back.
No te preocupes, que van a arreglar tu corazón.
Just wanted to let you know that the surgery went great.
Otra. Ándele.
¡Eso!
Muy bien.
Última. Buena.
Everyone has a reason to live a healthier, longer life. What's yours?
Welcome back to the Furry Files. I'm AvivA Hoffmann. Now, at the top of the show, we were briefly introduced to the Director of Animal Services, and we have the pleasure now of speaking to Zan Rawls in person. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're glad to have you here, and I want to get more in depth with it and talk about, your department does so much more than collect stray dogs and cats. So share with us a little bit about what your department does to help keep animals and people safe.
Well, of course, the primary purpose is rabies control, and you may know that Georgia is a rabies endemic state. So that's an important task to keep people healthy and happy, as well as their pets. My dog is misbehaving at the moment, but
I can't tell. He's so awesome.
Thanks so much. He's a rescue dog, as all of my pets are. Of course, it kind of comes with the territory that you end up with rescue shelter animals.
Right, and you've worked with him a lot. I mean, he's so well behaved. This is Ace, by the way. And Ace, welcome to the show. I forgot to welcome him.
He is very well behaved, and I'm glad that I could bring him this morning.
And tell us a bit some of the other things that Animal Services does.
Well, of course, we respond to all kinds of complaints that people might have about pets, and the animal welfare side of it, any cruelty cases, animal hoarding cases, neglect, those types of things. We're basically the police for the animal welfare and for the people that have problems with animals in our community.
Right, and you briefly mentioned this, the hoarding and those, surely you've seen some horrifying things in your days. You've been in this business a long time, decades, and we've been out with you too on some cases, but how do you deal with those kind of cases?
For everybody it's a little bit different. For me, I have always taken pleasure in the fact that however bad it is, I'm there to help the animals, get them out of a bad situation, as well as perhaps provide resources to some of the people that, may need additional help. Not all people are inherently bad. They may have gotten themselves into a bad situation, but if we can help them get out of that situation, I think we have a responsibility to do so.
And these are not just words, because Zan, I personally can attest to the fact that you are rolling up your sleeves, you're getting in the muck. I mean, what you do as a director is truly impressive.
Well, I am so fortunate to work with great staff. And for me, those cases are out of the ordinary, but they are something that I enjoy doing and being a support to the staff. Anything that I can do to help out.
Well, helping is definitely in your nature. Is there a particular, story of a person or an animal or a situation that you've been able to really make a difference that you want to share with everyone?
Well, certainly I made a difference in this little dog's life. He was slated for euthanasia because as a victim of puppy mills, he was brought in from Missouri, and you could not touch him. He had lived in a cage for 5 months of his life, so he couldn't be touched, and when you attempted to, he would bite or else run into a wall in panic. And through a lot of perseverance and some really good Labrador retrievers that helped me out as far as teaching and training him, he ended up living with me for the remainder of his life.
So Zan, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, and you certainly are coming from a helping aspect. Is there a particular story you would like to share with all of us about that stands out, where you've helped an animal or a person?
Absolutely. We had a little dog named Xena the Warrior Princess. And she was named that. She was given a big name because when she arrived at our shelter, she had less than 1% chance of living. Personally, I've never seen a dog in that kind of shape that was still alive.
Our viewers saw a picture of that at the top of the show, yeah. And we're going to have her story in depth a little bit later, too. Yeah, yeah.
But
she was horrifying.
Being a part of that, and then seeing that dog go on to impact that family with such positivity. Really, I don't speak well about it because it brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, yeah. And again, with Ace, you've transformed his life, but I imagine he's kind of had an impact on your life as well.
Absolutely. He's one of my best buds. He takes care of our 2 rescued cats that are at my home, and you know, he's a great buddy for me to pal around with.
That is great. Now, going back to your department, Animal Services and Enforcement, what would it be like in DeKalb County without your department?
Well, certainly people would have no recourse or resource for the types of problems that they encounter. Loose dogs, stray dogs, dogs chasing children, dogs bothering children at the bus stops, rabies control, zoonotic disease, cats and their issues, barking. You know, we want to live in a community that is safe and joyful. So obviously, my department gets an opportunity to impact those relationships.
That's very true. And so now I'm going to go a little bit more personal. Why is it that you do this kind of work? What drew you in the get-go?
I have actually been involved in animal welfare since I was 14. I started volunteering at the zoo at 19. I had my first paid position and stuck with it. To be able to have an impact on people's lives is important to me. I like to talk a lot. I get to talk to a lot of different people. I like problem solving, and certainly this job comes with a lot of different variety of problems that create some creative management or skills that I can bring to the table. I obviously adore animals. They're very important to me in my life and to many people that I know. So it's the perfect job for me. I don't say I have to go to work. I say I get to go to work.
That is awesome, and we are glad that you got to share a little bit of your work with our viewers and with us today on the Furry Files. You're welcome. Now, many dogs are smart, there's no doubt about it, and some dogs even work alongside people.
This story is about a canine officer, or drug dog, that will not be soon forgotten. Here's Burke Brennan with more.
It's not uncommon in the workplace for relationships to form. Sometimes colleagues become friends, sometimes even best friends. This is a story about that kind of relationship between a DeKalb County police sergeant and his canine partner. Twan died earlier this year, but he did enjoy a couple of years of well-deserved retirement, and he also made quite an impact working with the DeKalb County Police Force. He is truly missed.
It's almost a mother to a son, if you can understand that, or a father to a son, or a daughter. That connection, it's just, if it's taken from you, it's hard to, and it's rough. And it's not quite as much as a child, but it's there.
Sergeant Robert Frank worked for DeKalb County Police for 28 years. Twan, the drug-sniffing Belgian Malinois who served as Frank's partner, worked for DeKalb County Police for 7 years. 7 dog years would be 49 people years. The average length of service for a police canine is only 5 years. Before they both retired from the force together, Sergeant Frank and Twan saw a lot of action.
It's a job that it is a life and death situation a lot of the times. Most people don't see that. We live it every day, don't think about it. Until that incident comes up, and we got past that one. So it's there every day for us, but we don't think about it. And that's where that real tight connection comes in from.
Over the years, Twan has helped Sergeant Frank and others make more than 500 arrests. One of the bad guys shot Twan in 2008, which put him out of commission for a while.
Twan is a highly driven dog and has been saved my life several times on the street.
But Twan bounced back and returned to service. Since 2005, the team of Frank and Twan nabbed more than $1.3 million in drugs and drug money. While people can retire at any time, retiring a police canine requires legislative action, something that the DeKalb Board of Commissioners fully supported for Twan.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Now, Twan did enjoy 2 years of retirement before he ultimately passed away at the age of 12, but he's enshrined right here at the DeKalb Police K-9 Memorial right here in front of the Public Safety Building. It was unveiled last May. Now, the exact brick is right over here. Here we have forever enshrined the name of the K-9 drug dog, his dates of service, and of course his handler, Sergeant Frank. And Sergeant Frank has got an exact replica of this brick at his home for his own personal memorial.
K-9 Twan, 2005 to 2013, DeKalb County Police Department, handler Robert Frank.
Drug dogs, bomb-sniffing dogs, rescue dogs, they're all enshrined here, those that have served DeKalb County and have passed away. For the Furry Files, I'm Burke Brennan.
Twan leaves behind an incredible legacy of dedication and devotion to his job and partner.
Now it's time once again to check in with Jay Breedlove with this Furry Files fun fact. I think Jay has some travel on his mind.
That's right, Aviva. We all love a good road trip or a vacation. But if you're taking your dog along, you want to make sure that you're prepared. When feeding your dog, only give him about 1/3 the amount of food you normally would for a car ride. Also, make sure to pack fresh water so that your dog can be hydrated along the way. You also want to make sure that if you're using a crate, that you take the leash off before you put your dog in the crate so that he doesn't become entangled. Pack a copy of your dog's pet records, including his rabies vaccinations, in case you need them for hotel stays or any other place that you may go. Also, you may want to consider having your dog microchipped. Microchips are a great way to identify lost pets. I'll be back with more fun facts after this. Back to you, Aviva.
Thanks, Jay. Some great information. Now stay tuned. We've got a lot more on the Furry Files right after this.
Stick around on this debut edition of the Furry Files. You don't want to miss a story of a boy and his dog and how the underdog always wins.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/therightseat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Larry Johnson from District 3. Stay tuned. The Furry Files will be right back.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands? My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did. It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that. Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/therightseat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
Welcome back to the Furry Files. I'm AvivA Hoffmann. Joining us now is Executive Director of Aware Wildlife Center, Dr. Tara Hadley. We're so excited to have you on our show.
Thank you, AvivA. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome, and we're excited to learn more about Aware. Tell us, what is your mission here?
Sure. Our mission at Aware is to rehabilitate injured and orphaned native Georgia wildlife. And our goal is to try to get them released back to the wild. The second part of our mission is to educate the public about wildlife issues and other environmental concerns.
Now, what kinds of wildlife, from what to what? Give our viewers a picture of the animals that you encounter on a regular basis.
Sure, anything as small as a little amphibian or a hummingbird to as large as an owl or hawk or bobcat, coyote. So we see the variety of animals from those ends and in between.
I suspect I know what animal is your favorite only because of your specialty. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you're coming from.
Well, I am a veterinarian, but my specialty is in avian medicine. So I do avian medicine and surgery, but I have traditionally done work with all exotic animals. So I've done rabbits and ferrets and those types of animals, and I've also worked with zoos. I've worked with a few zoos as well.
All right. Yeah. And so when an owl or a hawk or a blue jay comes in, I imagine that you have an extra little soft spot for that creature.
I do, but it's really hard for me to pick any particular animal. Birds were the first love for me and the reason why I became a veterinarian, but I'm attached to all animals. It's hard for me to pick one favorite, which is why I do exotic animals and wildlife in the first place, because I like them all.
Perfect match. Love to hear that. That is wonderful. So now, what types of animals do we have here today at Aware?
Well, today we have baby squirrels that have come to us. We have turtles that have come to us. Lots of birds of prey, lots of adult squirrels, some raccoons. So there's a lot of animals.
What are you doing for the squirrels? I'm just curious because we see squirrels out in the open everywhere, every day. So what kind of help are they needing?
Well, what happens with the squirrels often when they're orphaned is sometimes someone goes into their yard to cut down a tree and nests of squirrels that might have been in that tree will fall out.
Oh, yeah.
Other times, mom is trying to move from one location to another and she may drop or mishandle one and one gets lost. So there's a whole lot of reasons why squirrels may come to us, but typically they come as orphans with some minor injuries.
Okay, now we have a guest appearance. Tell us a little bit about this fella. I'm assuming fella?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to take a look. Sometimes we can tell. So this is one of our box turtle patients, and actually it's a female.
Okay.
We can tell from box turtles because they have a little indentation in the bottom of their shell.
All right. Do y'all give them names? I'm just curious.
We don't name the wildlife.
Okay, because you're going to return them anyway.
Because we're going to return them to the wild.
Can't get too attached.
We don't want our volunteers to get attached.
Right.
We do recognize who the different animals are after caring for them. But
so what's going on here?
Yeah, so this little guy, he's got a little bandage, and some of you may have seen something like this used on your cat or a dog if it's had an injury.
Yeah.
But he was hit by a car, so that's a pretty common injury with turtles.
Again.
I said he, but actually it's a she. Yeah, I don't even distinguish. I call them he and she.
But oh gosh, and to survive that kind of an injury, so what are y'all doing for her?
Well, we are cleaning the wound daily and taking care of it. We've got her on antibiotics and pain medicine, and then what we do is when the wound is clean enough, we might either put a patch on it and repair it, or we might do a little mini surgery to kind of piece the pieces of the shell together. So it just depends.
That kind of care and attention for something wild, something like a turtle, is amazing. That is truly a gift to nature to give back. That's really cool.
It is. We have some incredibly dedicated volunteers that really love what they do. And, you know, this is just one species of animal that we see, but we get lots of turtles, but lots of other species. So it really makes the work that we do exciting and challenging and interesting.
And we will be, from time to time, we're going to have guest appearances by many of these wild animals, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'd also like to tell our viewers, you mentioned volunteers quite a few times, if they want to get involved volunteering or other ways, what can they do? What does Aware need and how can people help?
Well, the ways that people can help us, if they'd like to volunteer, they can go to our website and fill out a volunteer application, and then we'll get back with them, and depending on what their interest is, we'll try to fit them in any way that we can. If they are able to, they can donate money to us. That is always appreciated.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't get any government funding or anything like that, so we do rely predominantly on donations from individuals.
What do you use donations mainly for? Maybe go over 2 or 3 checklists of where the money goes.
Well, most of the money goes to animal care, and some of the money pays for staffing and everything like that. But we can never pay our staff enough money to do what they do. They're just so passionate about what they do. So a lot of it goes to the care. Most of it goes to the care of the animals.
That is great.
The last way they can help, if they can't volunteer and if they can't give money, but even if they can do those things, would be to like us on Facebook.
Oh, there you go.
Because as many supporters that we can get on Facebook, it really helps our cause. Get some friends, we spread our message out, and it lets potential donors and sponsors know that, we're connected and that we mean something to the community.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. Now, we want to hear from you. Send in your email to Dr. Tara, and she may just answer it right here on the Furry Files. There's an old saying, saving one dog will not change the world, but surely for that one dog, the world will change forever. Now, here's the story of one lucky dog in Lithonia.
A terrifying ordeal for one DeKalb County 4-year-old turns into one of the happiest moments of her life.
So you got your present back.
I got my present back.
Yeah.
It was a typical Tuesday morning when DeKalb County Animal Services, Fire Rescue, and Roads and Drainage responded to a 911 call of a puppy trapped in a storm drain in Lithonia. Officials arrived at the 2000 block of Embarcadero Boulevard with shovels, an excavator, and other equipment, all to save Toshi, a tiny 2-pound Chihuahua Pug mix that was a recent birthday present for young Sari. After several hours of digging and calculated logistics with the surrounding water lines, the mission was a success.
This was such a great ending to what could have been a very bad tragedy. The pet owner's puppy fell into a storm drain, and through the hard work of Roads and Bridges and Fire Department and our staff, the puppy was rescued safe.
Little Toshi was cold, wet, and scared, but animal control officials knew how to make it all better.
It's just shaking. It was really cold, and it's a little pale, so we're just trying to warm it up.
I'm going to give him some oxygen because he's been down in the hole for so long, so we're going to give him some oxygen, okay? To make sure he's breathing okay.
The trouble for this 7-week-old puppy began during a late-night bathroom break outside.
I didn't see her falling. My boyfriend took her to use the restroom this morning, and he turned back around, and she was gone. Like, the pipe was so deep into the ground that you wouldn't know it was there. Well, he started hearing her cry, so, like when you could hear her cry, you could hear her like around the trees kind of sort of, and then he just started looking on the ground, and you see her head sticking out the pipe.
Toshi means a lot to little Sari and to DeKalb County too.
These things happen frequently throughout DeKalb County, and I couldn't be more proud of everybody pulling together for this little puppy's effort. And, we're all celebrating a successful rescue.
Just more proof DeKalb County employees are dedicated to the health and well-being of animals as well as our citizens.
Well, we're so glad that it turned out with a good ending. This is wonderful. Oh, our pleasure.
Little Toshi's doing just fine after her long, frightening ordeal, and her owners are watching her very carefully every time they go outside. Way to go, DeKalb County! And if you want to get your own precious puppy or cuddly kitty, many animals are up for adoption at DeKalb's Animal Shelter. Be sure to check out the adoption page online at DeKalbAnimalServices.com/adoptapet. The animal profiles are updated regularly. Also, you can visit the shelter in person at 845 Camp Road in Decatur.
The hours of operation at the animal shelter are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Now it's time for another Furry Files fun fact with Jay Breedlove. Bird owners, there is a potential danger in your kitchen. Here's Jay with more.
I love to cook, and many of you do too. But remember, non-stick pans can be fatal for your birds. That's right, Teflon is great for keeping our food from sticking. But when overheated, Teflon releases toxic chemicals in the air. And it's not good for people, but it can be toxic and fatal to birds. So make sure you keep your birds away from the kitchen and in well-ventilated areas. I'll be back with more fun facts. Keep it locked. Back to you, Aviva.
Thanks, Jay, for those fun facts. Now there's more of the Furry Files right after this.
You can do this. Now I know you can do this. See? Got it. Told you. Very nice.
Everyone has a reason to live a healthier, longer life. What's yours?
Welcome back to the Furry Files. I'm your host, Aviva Hoffmann. At the top of the show, we introduced you to DeKalb's Animal Services Enforcement Division. Let's take a look now at a little bit more on this department that helps so many animals and people too.
The people that go to jail are you know, our hardest cases, but there's been at least half the calls we go on, we're helping the person. We're saying, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. And we'll go back in a couple of weeks and make sure they're doing this, this, and this.
Investigators often go above and beyond to help, but they're also specially trained to spot abuse. Since 2009, animal enforcement has made approximately 183 arrests. The entire Animal Services Division has directly and indirectly saved or improved the lives of thousands of animals.
16 to 20.
Animal Control Officer Quentin Powers is out in the field every day. He wears many hats for his role in animal enforcement. He's part detective.
10-4, I'm 10-8. Could not locate. Patrol area 1068. Can you call the complainant back and see if that's the correct address?
Part peacemaker.
I try to figure out what's going on. Most owners will come out and tell you, like, well, I'm sorry, this is what's going on. The fence, something fell. Usually in these neighborhoods, bad weather, tree fell on the fence, something like that. So we just try to work it out and see what we can do at this point to stop the dog from getting loose.
And he's even part janitor.
Cleaning the truck after every time you pick up an animal, you usually got to clean it out just in case, because you don't want it to spread diseases or anything like that.
Officer Powers often has unpredictable work days, and of course, he's been bitten before. There are other dangers too. In fact, animal control officers put their own safety on the line every day.
10-4, I'm 10-8.
Despite the dangers, there's one thing that keeps him coming back.
I believe we make a difference every day. I mean, I always wish it could be a bigger difference, but I mean, with the amount of people we have and the time that we put in, I believe everybody puts a equal or a fair amount of time into the job, so I believe we do as much as we can in the time frame that we have.
These employees must deal with the unexpected and sometimes distressing situations, but they don't let that get in the way.
And the best thing I can do for that animal is do my job, focus on my job, and it usually has a real good outcome.
Take George, for example. He's currently part of a neglect case. His owner let his hair grow out of control. It began to cut off circulation to one of his legs, which eventually had to be amputated. But now his future is looking much better.
And he's been doing really well. At first, stairs were a little bit tough for him, but he figured them out. He likes to nap, but he's been eating and playing and acting like a normal dog.
The owner is sorry.
He's very apologetic. He was actually crying today in court when I took him to court. So it's kind of tough, but you know, nonetheless, it's a cruelty. I mean, you just can't neglect a dog like that and get away with it.
And you certainly can't get away with intentional animal neglect in DeKalb County.
When you're dog fighting, you know what's happening to those dogs. You're actively trying to make that happen. It's a different story. So yeah, we'll eventually get you. If there's a dogfighting operation in DeKalb County, we're going to get you. We're coming to get you.
Despite his tough stance, Officer Gagnon really has a soft spot for animals that motivates him on the job.
Well, there would be no justice for people like George, dogs like George. See, I referred to people. Yeah, there'd just be no end result for him. I mean, cruelty cases would go unsolved.
For Director Rawls and her employees, this isn't just a job, it's a way of life.
Okay, you want to see people? This is my dog, Ace. He is a 5-year-old border collie, and he's a rescue dog. He came from a seizure at a puppy mill out of Missouri. The first 4 to 5 months of his life, he lived in a cage, and he really had no socialization with people. He's come a long way. Down. Sit. High five. Stand. Stay.
In the 40-plus years she's been involved in animal welfare, Director Rawls has learned a thing or two.
The more you can get them out, the more you can socialize them. It benefits them. It gives them something stimulating that is different from your couch or your carpet. Stand and take a bow.
To find out more about DeKalb County Animal Services and Enforcement, visit online at DeKalbAnimalServices.com. To request field service, call Animal Enforcement at 404-294-2996, extension 5. DeKalb also works closely with several rescue organizations. Be sure to check them out and lend your support. Friends of DeKalb Animals has a website at friendsofdekalbanimals.com. And Good Muse Animal Foundation has a website at goodmuse.org.
No question, DeKalb County would not be the same without DeKalb's Animal Services and Enforcement Division. Our appreciation goes out to all the employees. Thank you. Now it's time to check in one last time with a Furry Files fun fact with Jay Breedlove. Jay?
Now, we all know that going to the vet can get a little expensive, but there are some home remedies that we can turn to. Did you know aloe is good for abrasions or hot spots on dogs? It can also help with digestion. Also, pumpkin is a great way to keep your dog from having diarrhea or constipation. And did you know pumpkin seeds can be used as a dewormer? They have been proven to expel roundworms and tapeworms in livestock. Also, sometimes our dogs may get a little anxious or nervous during thunderstorms or around fireworks. But did you know that chamomile tea works great for anxiety? Just pour a little prepared chamomile tea in your dog's water bowl and it should help with some of that tension. Thanks for watching these Furry File fun facts, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Back to you, Aviva.
Thanks, Jay, for all of your fun facts, and we look forward to more segments from you on the next Furry Files. But this edition's not over yet. We've got much more, including...
Just after the break, I'll bring you a heartwarming story you don't want to miss. It's the story of a boy and his dog with a twist. It's a story of recovery and renewed life. Stick around, you don't want to miss it.
My husband and I decided to make some changes. Both of us have parents who have diabetes, and we're not trying to go down that road. We want our kids to be healthier too. No one believes me when I tell them I've changed. This is what I used to buy. And this is me now at our new farmer's market.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
Oh, it smells good in here.
Thank you.
What's all this?
Dinner.
Child, I wouldn't know what to do with all of these vegetables.
I didn't either. I got them from around the corner at our mobile farmer's market. They have food demonstrations and they give you recipes.
Okay, child, I am
on a budget. Same here. I got all of this for only $15.
$15?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I have 3 boys to feed. These won't fill them up.
Yes, they can. We still have our meats and our whole grains, but we're just adding some color.
Look at you, eating your fruits and veggies. I'm gonna have to put you on the gram.
Oh, told ya.
Now, where'd you say you got them?
To learn more about the DeKalb Mobile Farmers Market, go to DeKalbCountyGA.gov/mobile market.
Made possible with funding from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Because of this house, I feel a sense of freedom.
Because of this house, I see hope.
Because of this house,
we have a different ending to our story.
Because of this home, we can do anything that our hearts desire. I have peace at mind.
Because of our house, there are endless possibilities.
Because of this house, my sisters and I were happy children.
I see a brighter future.
I'm a better person.
My eyes have been opened. It's giving me my life. Because of this house, I'm home.
You can change the lives of families in your community and around the world. Join us. Habitat. We build.
Welcome back to the Furry Files. I'm your host, AvivA Hoffmann. This next story is truly amazing. The dog was saved, but she also saved her adoptive family. DCTV director Diamond Lewis has the incredible story of Xena the warrior puppy.
Imagine navigating through life having so much to offer, but unable to share your thoughts, hopes, and excitement with the world around you. That was the reality for this beautiful bundle of joy, this baby boy destined to complete Linda and Grant Hickney's family, their second son, the very blessing they'd prayed for years.
When Johnny was born, it was truly a miracle. Everything was great, everything was fine, and we brought home our baby boy. Thrilled parents, blessings, of course, and little by little as he was getting older, things were being noticed. He wasn't reaching milestones.
Johnny was missing key targets, like the typical age his older brother started to crawl, focus, and coo. At just 8 months old, Johnny was diagnosed with autism.
When you hear autism, at least for me as a parent, as a mother, when I heard that word autism, I felt as if I was mourning. I felt like I lost my child. I lost the dreams that I had for him. I realized today that's not the truth.
Johnny he wasn't nonverbal, but he was pretty quiet around the house. He didn't do a whole lot of talking. But when we got Xena, that all changed.
After years of expensive therapies, in-home tutoring, and prayer, little Johnny's life was changed forever by the unlikeliest catalyst. It all began when Linda, an avid dog lover, saw the horrific story of a badly abused and abandoned dog in the news.
Xena was almost dead when she was brought into the shelter. At the time, I was working as a rescue coordinator at DeKalb Animal Services. So it was the end of the day on a Saturday when I was there, and they brought her in, and she was basically a bag of bones. She was cold, she was dehydrated, and she looked like a dead dog.
But Xena defied the odds, slowly recovering under the care and love of her foster mom, Chrissy.
She took her under her wing and brought her home. She had only been given a less than 1% chance of survival that night. What she wanted to do was just bring her home that evening to give her love for those very last hours that she had never received her whole life. And miraculously, she survived.
Linda and more than 8,000 others followed this harrowing story of Xena on her own Facebook page, created in response to the heavy interest in the puppy who put a face to the sheer horror of animal abuse.
I root for the underdog. There's just so many parallels between Johnny and Xena, and I am Johnny's biggest advocate, and when I just saw her, you know, my heart just fell in love with her, and I just wanted to root for her as well.
Fast forward several months, and Xena flourished under Chrissy's love and was finally ready to find a home. The Hickneys attended a special event in her honor, hoping to simply meet Xena, doubtful they would be selected as a permanent family for the warrior puppy.
And we went to the meet and greet, and my son Johnny went to the meet and greet with us, and we were there about a total of 4 minutes. And I know that sounds crazy, but we were there for like 4 minutes, and the dog ran right out and jumped up on Johnny.
The boy, living in a world through the lens of autism, found love at first sight for the underdog turned survivor and even celebrity in Xena the warrior puppy. After an adoption application process, Linda got the call she'd been waiting for. Xena was coming home to the Hickney family.
Johnny gets in the van, and in that moment, there was already a miracle. He was smiles from ear to ear. He was sitting in his car seat. She's licking him all over his face. He is talking to her nonstop, and it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but Johnny, who had so few words, so little speech, to the point where I would have to try to extract words out of him, he was freely talking to her. And I actually parked the car, and I just sat and I started taking pictures.
It was an immediate bond. Xena sat on Johnny's lap that moment, and stayed on Johnny's lap every time we rode in the car for about the next 3 or 4 months. And Xena, because I guess she hadn't had human touch, she had to touch somebody all the time, and that somebody was our son Johnny.
The bond between Johnny, the miracle boy, and Xena, the warrior puppy, has only grown both for the recovering dog and the boy who found his voice through his love for his four-legged best friend.
When we got Xena, Johnny became in charge of something in his own life, which Johnny never had. Johnny never had anything that he was in charge of. And in this case, he became the pack leader of Xena.
And now he's apparently a chatterbox, and I've seen the videos because I keep up with that. And the dog does not look like the dog that I saw, and the child is just, it seems to me like a very ordinary young child, and I think it's just therapy on both parts, and it's a great story.
Leadership born through the friendship of a storybook love of a boy and his dog.
5 seconds before it could have been over for Xena, they decided to save her. And I mean, Xena was cold to the touch. She had less than a 1% chance to live, and she's a second chance survivor. She got a second chance, and she seized the moment. And the same thing being a parent, there's always a second chance.
I prayed for a miracle all these years. All these years, I prayed for a miracle for my son. And I truly believe those miracles may not come as what we expect. And I believe that God has sent me a dog. And God spelled backwards is dog. So I truly believe that that's what I got from my miracle.
The Hickney family is continuing the sheer miracle of Xena the warrior puppy and Johnny by sharing their story of renewed life and recovery in support of other families impacted by autism, and certainly in support of other animal rescue programs. In fact, they recently hosted their first major charity event. The Geico Johnny and Xena Spread the Word's Fun Run. Locally, more than 300 runners participated, and globally, with the inclusion of virtual runners, the event included more than 500 runners total. That inaugural race raised more than $20,000 in support of autism and animal recovery programs. Now, to stay up to date with Xena the warrior puppy, either check her out on Facebook or visit her website. There you'll find all the information you need to keep up to date with the ASPCA 2013 Dog of the Year, and certainly Johnny's best friend and source of encouragement. Diamond Lewis, the Furry Files.
Thanks, Diamond. Now, if you want to bring in a new best friend into your home, there are plenty of them at DeKalb's Animal Shelter. You can start with an online search of the adoption pages at DeKalbAnimalServices.com/adopt-a-pet. Or you can visit the shelter in person at 845 Camp Road in Decatur.
The hours of operation at the animal shelter are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Now, here are more helpful telephone numbers and websites from our show. The telephone number for the DeKalb County Animal Shelter is 404-294-2949. The homepage for DeKalb Animal Services is DeKalbAnimalServices.com. The telephone number for the Animal Services Field Enforcement Division is 404-294-2996,
extension 2.
To report a cruelty incident, call the Cruelty Report Hotline at 404-294-2939. And we want to extend a big thank you to the Atlanta Wild Animal Rescue Effort, or AWARE, for sharing its facility with the Furry Files. You can learn more about AWARE online at awarewildlife.org. The best way to contact AWARE is by email. Send your message to help@awarewildlife.org. If you don't have email access, you can reach the organization by phone at 678-418-1111. You'll find the facility at 4158 Klondike Road in Lithonia, nestled in the Arabia Mountain National Heritage Area, a wonderful nature preserve for local residents and visitors to enjoy. Now, don't forget to send in your animal questions. Dr. Tara will answer them in future shows. Send your questions to the Furry Files via email. We're also looking forward to your pet stories and pet pictures. Share them with us using the same email address, and we'll include them in future shows. To keep up with Xena the Warrior Puppy, you can go to her Facebook page at facebook.com/Xena and Johnny. For information about many other DeKalb County services and events, be sure to check out the county's internet site at DeKalbCountyGA.gov. And if you're interested in other DeKalb County news, don't forget to check out DCTV's YouTube videos. Search for the channel DeKalb County Gov on YouTube. You can also find a link to DCTV's website under the quick links of the county's homepage at DeKalbCountyGA.gov. Or give us a call at 404-371-2989. Now, we're going to leave you with some cute pictures from our DeKalb County employees and some of their furry friends. Be sure to send yours in, and thanks for watching The Furry Files.